One, and we are go time. Guys, welcome back. This is Bad Publicity in the house. This is a special, well, up in Canada, it's Family Day tomorrow. Uh, Greg, what do you guys have holiday tomorrow?
Really cold day, I think.
Isn't it like, is it President's Day or something?
No, it was Abraham Lincoln's birthday on the
One,
12th, though.
and we are go that's pretty
time.
good.
Maybe it's
Guys,
something.
welcome
I don't
back.
know.
I
I'm
thought
not up to speed. Doesn't affect my life.
I thought you had a holiday.
Hmm. Maybe we do, and I'm looking really bad right now, but not that I'm aware of or
Mm.
remember.
Well, happy Family Day to any Canadians watching. That was our made-up holiday to get us a another day off in February because it's just too damn cold to get out up here. Um, Order and Chaos is out.
Woohoo!
I know it's been a while since since we talked like this. Um, Store championships are running amok right now. Anything crazy that you just want to take off from the start there?
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just touch quickly on my sort of championship, if that's cool.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Um, I mean, we'll have plenty of time to talk about cards, but I had an awesome story championship. Actually, played last weekend here in Madison, Wisconsin. We dubbed it the Wisconsin State Championship because all the big hitters came down. Spags was there, Aaron Andrews was there, Joe Shupp was there, aka Paranoid. And then we had a few heavy hitters from Wausau come down too, which is a great place. And then there's also Gumanshu was there, and some other good players from Madison. So pretty loaded field.
I,
And
I heard you guys all wear like the same Adidas tracksuits.
I think you heard wrong, but
Uh,
I definitely sport one every now and then, as we can all see.
I thought that was just the team, like the team uniform. Just roll
No,
in
maybe
Adidas
we'll
jumpers,
consider it though.
tearaways.
We're working on it. But going in, it was pretty cool though. Going into we should have done 4 rounds of Swiss, I guess, because after 4 rounds, the top four were me, Spags, Joe, and Aaron. So that was pretty sweet. And then, as Spags said, cannibalism set in, and we had to start playing each other. But I played all those guys. It was a brutal field for me. I played the top. Literally, my Swiss was first, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth.
That's not an easy ladder to climb.
No, no, and it was the last game that kept me out. So it was heartbreaking to play that tough a field, and I felt like the decks I played went. They did really well. They performed super well in the Andy deck that I posted on Netrunner TV, and then I just played my updated version of Glacier or Red. It's so pseudo Glacier, I guess
Oh, you
nowadays.
took a updated red coats
Yeah, I guess you can call it that. Although it's lost a lot of its.
in the
Uh,
age of order and chaos. You went with the red coats.
oh heck yeah, man! It has answers for everything. The only thing I had to do was add 2 Chrysium grids
Hmm.
to
It seems
handle
like
all the.
everybody wants to put that in a deck these days.
Well, it's really versatile. It handles a lot of the Anarch shenanigans that's going on right now, but it also is like super good against a lot of things: legwork, indexing, Maker's Eye, Sneak Door Beta, um, Singularity, possibly on remote, Count Siphon, obviously. So it shuts down Gabe entirely. So I mean, it's strong. Plus, it's 5 to trash. So at a minimum, it's super annoying to deal with.
And then, so how did things eventually shake out there?
Well, I got swept in the last round when basically by Joe. And he topped his first 2 runs in R&D. He top decked 2 3-pointers on me, and basically he was up 6-0 within the first 3 minutes of the game. But the game took 25 extra minutes from there. It was still a battle, but it was tough to recover from that. And then in the runner game against him, I had a horrible start. I mulliganed into an even worse hand and just couldn't get anything going. So that's
Who,
how it ended for me.
so who took home the plaque?
The guy from Wausau, PD, and a great player. He top 16 worlds, and he brought this. I'll mention it's definitely worth mentioning. His deck, his corp deck. He was running Near Earth Hub, but he was playing the Constellation Ice. And so what he would do is he would install the Constellation Ice, and then he would play Shipment from Sansan onto the ice. So now it's like 3 to res Asteroid Belt or whatever. And now once it's res, he doesn't need the counters anymore. So instead of playing Biotic Labor, he was playing Trickle Light, which saved him a few influence as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it was this amazing deck of like early lockout with advancing these cards, scoring the Astros with the fast advance from Trickle Light, and it worked for him. It was a brilliant deck. So kudos to him.
I do like the fact that Near Earth just won't go away.
Yeah, well, it's not, man. 17 influence.
Yeah, yeah. But it's becoming, at least it's becoming, something that is as adapting. It's not like the same stale old deck that's coming. I mean, shipments from Sansan being used to advance ice, great call.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's one of those things that was like, for me, I just wasn't thinking about the game that way. Like, Shipment from Sansan goes on agendas. Like, that was my brain and how it was wired. And it's so cool to see somebody always, I try to do that too, but just breaking the boundaries and doing it in a way that's like, not just cool because it's different, but really freaking efficient and awesome.
Anything else? I can tell you that I played a store championship. Me and a buddy made the trek out to Grand Rapids, Michigan area,
Wow.
and let the record state that as of coming home from that tournament, I am no longer going to. I don't know what the correct word for it is, but I am going to now randomize my Sigh games because I lost. Dude, you can laugh, but I was in crucial situations for every Sigh game, and it was almost game point. And I look at the board and I'm like, okay, this is how much money they have. This is what the cost is, and I am friggin' doing advanced mathematics in my head to figure this all out. And I said, okay, this is what they're gonna spend. This is the answer. And then the guy's like, puts his hand up, rolls a little die cube behind his hand, and he's like, okay, Sigh game. And I'm like, this is bullshit. And then he spends his money, I spend mine, and obviously because he randomized it, he did not spend what he needed to at that game state, and he won.
Yeah.
It blocked my Sigh game, and then I would either lose because I was playing replicating, I would lose the Caprice battle coming in. They would steal the agendas, or they were able to keep me out on their side.
Yeah.
I could not win a Sigh game for my life because the other people are now randomizing Sigh games.
No, I was only laughing because 4 out of the 5 games I played as Andy were against RP, and I had match point on Spags 5 Sigh games, and I couldn't win one. And he ended up coming, like, he had this miraculous comeback on me. He played an amazing game, but it took him 5 Sigh games to win.
Was he randomizing?
No, he wasn't. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, and like Spags and Aaron, they were talking about how much they hate Sigh games because they feel like it's paper scissors rock to determine a game. And like, you make a really good point because there are a lot of things to think about in a Sigh game. But I think the other thing too to consider is your opponent actually considering all of that? Because you could be making the perfect bid, but And the other thing sometimes too is people roll the die to make it look random, but they really have an agenda and like a calculation. So you never know with the side game, and I think that's kind of cool because like you can go the calculative route or you can go a completely random route, but I'm sure it'll be a forever debated whether it's a good mechanic to the game. But I like it for now at least.
Yeah, it. I think it will go down. Um, Depending on how heavy we see it used later on. I mean, it's in the game, and like Caprice is still a great card to use, but I don't think its side game is like in your face on crazy cards all over the place. I mean, seeing it on ice and things like that, you can still break the subroutines and whatnot, but I think it's balanced well. It's not just randomly splattered against the wall.
Yeah, exactly. There's like some game theory to it. It's not exactly. It's not just
Mm.
let's just do this. Um, but yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. I had a different
Team
thought, but
Covenant needs to somehow make me a Sigh randomizer. Send it my way. I need it. I'll use it because reading board state and Sigh gaming is not working for me because I legitimately picked the best pick that should have been played at that time, and I couldn't do it. But unless they knew it was the best
well,
pick,
that's the other
and
thing
then they
too, right?
went with the opposite, I don't know, man. But
Yeah,
I lost. It didn't matter. I lost side games to dice rolls. So
yeah, that sucks.
um, so do you want to let's talk Anarch cards.
Yeah,
So what we're gonna do now is get into the Order and Chaos box that you see right here. Crack it open virtually, and we're going to look at the Anarch runner cards. So we're not looking at the IDs, and we're not looking at the neutrals. So this is strictly Anarch. So coming in here, we have Amped Up. Um, I know that we are primarily a video podcast, so everyone can see the lovely artwork up here. But we are running tests to jump into the audio only, so that's why I'm going to be reading cards. Because if this works and is good quality, we'll throw this one up. So Amped Up is the first card. It's 3 influence, and it is 1 cost event. Gain 3 clicks and suffer 1 brain damage. Cannot be prevented. What do you think, Mr. Greg?
I love this card, man. What's not to like about this? Um, it's not a card I've played with yet. That being said, but I don't know what's not to like about this. You get essentially you pay a click to get 3, so you're going to get 2 extra clicks from this.
Yeah, you get your click back.
Um, yeah, what's that?
You get your click back essentially, and
Plus 1
yeah.
or plus 2. Yeah, so you get if you play it with 4 clicks, you'll have 6,
Hmm.
right? Yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of things you can do with that. In a turn, like playing against RP, you might need that extra click if they're playing Enhanced Login Protocol. For noise, that could be an extra mill. I mean, clicks obviously are the engine for what everything the runner does. So to have extra clicks seems really strong. But I think the one challenge with this card is you have to like you don't want to just play it to get 2 clicks. You want to play it to land a haymaker. You really want to make sure you get a ton of value because you're going to get a brain damage, which isn't the end of the world, but it's not like great either. So if you're going to use this card, you want to make sure you're getting value from it. And because it's so timing sensitive, it might be a little bit challenging, but I think in general, getting 2 clicks seems really good to me.
Yeah, yeah. The having all these extra, a click is never a bad thing. Do you think it's a fair trade-off though? The 3 gain 3 clicks, 1 brain damage.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, so like compared to StimHack, right? So
Yeah,
StimHack is 9 credits and a brain damage, but it's also a run. So, so you're getting a lot done with StimHack, I guess. You're getting 9 credits. I guess StimHacks almost seems like a better value to me. But then again, it's not as versatile as this because you could do this and then play 2 StimHacks,
Yeah,
which is super nasty. So I think this card gives you like can open up huge potential hands, like or turns rather. Like this can turn one turn into a monster turn.
yeah. You know, thinking about the use and with stim hack, to me, I can burn a stim hack early game because I'm usually have it in there for setup or like the paid abilities windows to set up rig, those kind of stim hack tricks. I look at a card like this, and this is almost like a finisher.
Yeah.
Mid to late game. I don't want to amped up turn one or turn two, unless it's like really really obvious that I'm going for massive like agenda stealage. You've already you blatantly know that they've installed agendas and you can get two of them, because I don't want to use something like this and carry a brain damage just for the clicks. It has to, like a stim hack, you're going for that dive or you're setting a rig up. This one here is, you're could be throwing up that Hail Mary and trying to pull at least two agendas at the end of a game, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it could be really good, um, like in a keyhole deck per se. Like let's say that you just killed the ice in front of their R&D,
Because they
and then
can do that now with the cards that we'll see later on, right? So
exactly, and there's a lot of options to do it now. So maybe that's like, and they have an agenda double advanced in the remote. That's the perfect time to go in with a keyhole, and then you boom play that amped up. Now you're getting 2 more runs on their R&D. That's pretty strong. So like if you're getting efficient runs with a keyhole, probably at any point in the game, this is worth playing.
yeah, I can see
Just to
that.
get those extra 2 accesses on R&D, or if you have a medium that's getting efficient accesses, this is probably another good time to play this card. Or maybe Nerve Agent if you know they have agendas in hand. Or the other thing too, like this isn't a what do they call them? Priority, where you have to play it first. So like if you get to that point, like how many times in a game where you're just like, oh, I just wish I had one more click, I could do what I need, you know.
Yeah.
Um, this could be that answer where you're like, boom, now I got 2 more clicks. I can, like you said, finish the game off. So I think this card has a lot of promise, but it's not going to win you games, but it's going to open up more possibilities, more combinations.
Yeah, I'm really not sure how much we're going to see it played. I think we're going to see a lot of people try it out, but I don't really see this as a go-to auto include in Anarch, um, especially just since because it's an event, because it can be, um, once you've lost it, essentially it's gone. Like I know there's recursion and things like that, but the hints of what's coming for brain damage, it might be a lot more dangerous to be taking brain damage than we think. So it's interesting. At 3 influence, I don't know if we'll see it out of faction.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Although it does really work well with the card we'll talk about later, Wanton Destruction.
So it's there if you need it, and I mean clicks are always good. So don't count it out. But I'm not expecting this card to be played against me any like right now.
Yeah, I'm not expecting it either. That's fair.
Um, one card that we've you know seen a lot of hype from is I've Had Worse. This is an event, 2 influence, costs 1, draw 3 cards. Whenever I've Had Worse is trashed by taking net or meat damage, draw 3 cards. Um, this had a lot of buzz when the spoilers came around, telling a lot of people that they're going to drop their plascretes down, just a new form of protection. Um, but what I equate this to is Anarch's diesel, right?
Plus.
Yeah, okay. Diesel caffeine, the diesel, because it's got that added bonus on there.
Yeah.
What do you feel about this card right now?
Oh, this card is awesome. It's a monster, man, because it does everything for you. It draws cards. It saves your life. I mean, it saves your life and draws cards.
No,
No, it's
there have been rulings about when this card can get pulled, right? So I mean, you can still die if this card gets pulled on you.
yeah, yeah. I think you have to have at least four cards in your hand. Like if you're getting scorched, you can't have. I think you could technically have three. I've had worse in your hand, but if you get scorched, you die.
Yeah,
But if you have four cards in your hand, you're going to be drawing nine cards. Um, and the best part about that is, like, the corp has to play the scorched earth before this fires. So they lose the card, they lose the click, they lose the money, and you're still humming as the runner. And there you go. There's nothing they can do about it. And they can't see your hand, so they don't know it's coming. I mean, presumably at a certain point in the game, if it's been a while, the corp probably will know it's there. But man, it's just great. Like I didn't play Carapace in my noise deck anyway, but now it's just like, okay, well, why not play I've had worse? Because I was doing fine without a Carapace, but now I do have that little extra bonus, or I can draw cards with it.
yeah, and that's the other thing too. Is you just want to pay one credit, draw three cards. You're more than welcome to. Um,
Yeah,
but how long do you keep this in your hand?
as long as you need it there. I mean, if you're playing Wayland, I'm and they're trying to kill me, I'm not playing. I'm not playing it for cards. That's for sure. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just at a certain point, for me playing this game, I just realized like I have to make decisions based on staying alive. Like getting flatlined is the worst way to lose as the runner. The worst way to lose. So if I feel threatened, or I might even hold on to one of these for a while playing against an HB deck, because a lot of, some people, not a lot of people, but some people will play punitive, and why not, like, unless you're really digging for something you need, why not play it safe until you know you're safe?
Okay, so let me ask you it this way: how many? So not how long do you keep it in your hand, but how many do you need in your hand? Like, what if over the course of the game? Okay, so you've got your one, later on you draw into a second one. Now you've got your third one.
I might play it.
I don't think I think you're really limiting your choices when you're holding three of these in your hand, unless you've somehow manipulated your hand size.
Yeah.
But then I don't feel like you've needed it anyway. Like if you have a hand size of 7 or something like that, and you're playing against a scorch deck, you've already kind of buffered yourself a bit, right? Like those old days when we were playing Public Sympathy as an alternate.
Yeah. Well, you really need 8 cards to protect yourself against Scorch, but I get your point. I know what you're saying. And yeah, that's a really good point, because it is weight in your hand, and that's other, could be other cards doing things to help you. But at the same token, there's nothing more important than being alive in the game.
Yeah, but I think there's going to come that choice where you're just going to either have to ditch down and fill your hand slots with cards that you actually need, rather than trying to make the choice. Like, you don't want to lose tempo by only being able to hold 2 cards in your hand that are potentially, if you're digging for something.
Yeah, and I don't think you really need 3 in your hand anyway. I think 2 is a nice little protector to have, and then
So
you
would you
still have 3 cards to mess around with.
would you have 3 of these in your deck?
Sure. Yeah.
No, I know it's a possibility, but I'm saying like if you were making an Anarch build right now.
I have an Anarch build right now. I have a Quetzal deck that I've been playing,
Three with three
and I have
ways.
three I've had worse.
I think it's safe to play two. I would probably, I mean, unless
Well,
I would start with three, and then if I needed to cut something, I think I would cut the one of them because I think two's pretty good.
yeah, but I mean, you can always use it for the draw.
Hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? And like that's one thing that I think Anarch really needs some help with, which is why this card is so cool.
Yeah, I would probably use it more for the draw than I would the protection.
Yeah, and typically you will. And the other, I mean, you can always throw Carapace in too. You can always throw one in and then just use it exclusively for draw.
I do still like one. Um, I think I've had one Carapace in most of my tournament style decks just because there's nothing better than it so far. This now is close, but at least with Carapace, you know that it's absorbing that meat damage. This one here, they're gonna have to pull that card at the right time. So it's still good, but I mean, don't discount Carapace.
One thing I will say about this is you probably want to keep a hand size of four when you have this card, unless you have multiples in your hand. Because if you have a hand size of five and then they hit everything but your I've had worse, then you die.
Yeah, that's it. It's you're gonna have to watch your ratios there.
Exactly. I mean, it's unlikely that'll be the only card they don't hit, but
Mhm.
it'll happen.
There's there's this now as protection, but like I said, Plascrete, and I've been really liking the Shard.
Utopia Shard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if,
so good.
if you can get that off, it's a combo buster.
Oh, totally. It's
Um,
a it's a it's a power card.
so it's nice that there's a couple ways out there to do or to protect yourself.
I
Um,
agree.
this is still an amazing card because it does both, right? Like um, Anarch draw is already. If we were rating these cards, this would be incredibly high. But that's enough about I've had worse. Um, Next card we have is the Current. This is probably where I'm gonna butcher this name unless I let Greg say it.
Itinerant protesters.
Itinerant, Itinerant Protesters. There you go.
I'm here for you, Jameson.
This is a two cost, two influence event because it's a current. Standard current rules apply. The corporation's maximum hand size is reduced by one for each bad publicity they have. Like it, love it.
Um,
I'm neutral on it. I mean, it's not going to be, everywhere because it's got to fit in a build.
excuse me.
Um,
Sorry.
unless you're giving out bad publicity, I wouldn't put this in here just for the sake of coming across some bad pub because it's not going to do anything. I wouldn't put this in here just for a current killer because there's other currents. Scrubbed is a better current killer in faction than this. Um, so unless you're going to play it in a Valencia Estevez, give this corporation as much bad publicity as they can possibly deal out, it's very situational.
Yeah, it's very niche, and um, basically, and there's a few cards we'll talk about that build this combination. But I was playing. I only have really one experience with this card, and I was playing against a Valencia deck, and he had the entire bad publicity package going.
Yeah, I've played
Yeah,
against one
itinerant
of those.
protesters, the console, he was hitting me with the investigative journalism or whatever. So
You have like a hand size of two for
two,
like
yeah.
for the game.
But here's the thing about it is that by the time he had all that set up, I had my towers set up. So I could manage with a hand size of two because all I was doing at this point was waiting to draw the agenda to put in the server, and there's nothing he could do. So it's cool, and it's definitely debilitating. But to get this to be effective, it takes so long to set it up.
You can really
And
see you can see it coming.
yeah, I mean, you can see it coming, and it's yes, it's super annoying. It has potential to ruin a game for the corp, but typically by the time this card's going to be effective, the corp should have their mojo going.
Like I'll say that every Valencia deck that I've played against so far has had this in it.
Everyone, wow,
Everyone. I don't know if that's just because Order and Chaos was new, and most of those were have been online. So I don't know if it's just because it's new and a lot of people are testing things out, but it seems to me that they're just going Valencia, um, bad publicity dump,
yeah,
blackmail, and this is their current, um, and that game or those games, as much as they were disrupting my playstyle, it was just slowing the tempo down. I was still getting a mandatory draw. I was still able to make plays, and I'm, you're not really doing anything. I don't know. I didn't feel like it was causing me, or I've never felt it causes me enough harm.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I've only seen it a couple times, but
What do you
not
think
really
about
impressed.
first turn protesters from Valencia?
I mean, sure, you get a little value out of it.
That's a
Um,
comment from the chat.
I don't know. You probably have better things to do in your first turn than play this card, but I mean, if you can follow it up, if you know you're going to follow it up with a Wanton Destruction and you have some plays you can make with it, then I could see that. But um, I think in general, it's kind of meh.
I think it depends on how their setup is going to be. Um, if they're trying to rush out an agenda, you don't want to have this in play already because then next turn it's just going to get wiped.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't do this against Wayland. They'll just score a hostile takeover.
Yeah, there's Wayland is bum rushing you with a lot of two for ones these days.
Yeah,
Um,
breaking news for
yeah, so I think this is going to be a situational play, um,
yeah,
and I think it can still be played around. Like everybody's y- played cards down before, so I don't know, Greg. Guess I'm trying to stretch some good feedback into this card, but it just doesn't do anything for me.
No, I don't think bad like giving bad even with a Valencia as their ID like it's still so random like oh a nightmare story I built a Valencia deck spent like 45 minutes building this deck and then my first game I sit down play this guy first play of the game he reses Elizabeth Mills and removes my bad pub. I'm like oh my god, now my whole deck has just been counterfeited. So um it's inherently weak. If you're going to play a bad publicity game, you have to realize that you're gambling.
But
So it's an inherently gambling card.
but I will say that it's very rare you're going to come across somebody who's combo to clear.
Clear bad pub.
Yeah,
Yeah, not every deck's going to have it, but it's not super uncommon to see in a Wayland deck.
it's not going to be uncommon, but I don't think. But you can still put this in your deck, and you can get value out of it if that's the style you're playing. But you're going to have to really come with more than just the identities.
You're going to have to play frame job
Yeah.
and land it probably score it.
You you good with that one?
Yeah,
We get into a doozy. It's one of my hated cards of the set. it goes back to a cold November night where I was in line for a top spot at World's Netrunner Draft, and then
Oh no. What
and
happened next?
well, someone was playing me. It was
Uh-oh.
this was it. This is for the who's going to take home the big Mama Jama trophy. I had them locked out pretty damn well. With R&D interfaces, they were doing a big dig on me, but I was ready to score and win out firsthand. Out
Yep.
of nowhere, their play was, well, I might as well draw a card. Well, I might as well play this card. Greg Nording played Showing Off for the win off a 3-card R&D dig on the last card from the bottom of my deck to knock me down in draft
It
and
was tight.
crush my hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
I went from dreams of hoisting the trophy to taking home a deck box.
Yeah, some real drama in those draft matches, huh?
Showing Off. So this is a 3 influence. That was a long-winded intro to it. Um, that was mostly an inside joke for most of it. 3 influence, 2 cost event, run event. Make a run on R&D. If successful, instead of accessing cards from the top of R&D, access cards from the bottom, starting with the bottom card and working your way up. I think it's a cool card. Um, get yourself in there with a lot of multi-access. If you're coming up or whiffing big, no longer are you mentally counting down for them to draw that up. You can just attack from the bottom of your deck. Now, there's also a lot of cards these days that cycle through, like Daily Business, right? So, if they have been cycling and playing agendas, or hiding agendas at the bottom, this is a card that you can just come in and, do some damage with.
Whoop.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, man, I love everything about this card except one thing. I wish it was 2 influence.
I would have guessed if you had given me a moment to.
Ah, it's brutal, man. Like, I really like. I just don't agree with 3 influence here. Because it's going to be hard to make work in Anarch. That's why. Um, yeah, they have medium, but the thing is like if you're playing as Corp and you have 1 piece of ice in your opening hand in a hedge fund, where's that ice going? R
Yeah.
and D, right? So everybody knows guard your R and D against archives. So like the fact that it's 3 influence pains me because this would be such a good card in an Andy deck that plays R and D interface, where you hit them from the at top of their deck, 1, 2,
You're
and
gonna
like
hit
you
like a
said,
pincer, right?
yeah, exactly. And then you come back from the bottom, and you said if they've been playing Daily Business Show, man, it's going to be some good digging. So I'm really sad that it's 3 influence. I think it would be properly weighted at 2, but maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm missing that. But I just think it's because it's going to be a little bit harder to get to fire in Anarch. We're not going to see this card played a lot and played successfully, and that kind of breaks my heart because it's a beautifully designed card.
I played a good amount since this pack has been out, and this card has never been played against me yet. I mean, the only
Yeah,
time it's been played against me is when you drafted it, and you
it's a
just
great draft card
yeah,
because there's
clearly.
no influence on it.
But yeah, man, I think that's a very good point. You look at R&D interface, um, you look at HQ interface. They're both already pulled out of faction, because of their influence cost. So if you are, or even legwork and Maker's Eye, right? So most people are going with legwork on HQ, R&D interface, So, if you're Shaper, you're pulling in legworks, you're not going to have enough influence to be able to also bring in showing off. You know,
Yeah,
it's
Shaper is probably the only faction that could pull this one in, but it's going to be tough.
because they have a lot of their base stuff that they don't really need to splash for a lot of stuff other than a couple events and things like that now.
Yeah,
But they're tight, man. I mean, most people want to play Kate with prepaids and stuff, and after that, after you've built your economy, showing off is not going to have room at 3. I mean, what are you going to do? Just put one in and hope you get it at the right time?
you know what? This card was probably put at 3 influence specifically for Shaper. Because this would be pretty strong in Shaper at 2 influence if you think about it. Because you already have the 3 RDIs in faction. So I don't know. Maybe that's why they did that. It's. I think it's a crime for a criminal, but I guess this would be too strong in Shaper at 2.
I would like to see someone pull that off. Maybe it's
Maybe it's worthy in
maybe.
Shaper.
I haven't tested it, but
Again, for that end game. I mean, because if you play same old thing too, you don't need it right away. You can just save it for the end when you need that Hail Mary.
you're talking some dangerous stuff. Then same old things. You got your R&D interfaces set up already.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a Hail Mary at the end of the game, so hopefully you have some things going.
I don't even think you would need to end game it, man, if you have same old things.
No, I mean, they'll be, yeah, at certain points in the game, sure. Especially with that daily business. This is like the best counter to daily business show, really.
And you think that too is that also there's a lot of times you're going to be getting some fresh looks, right? Force them to use it. Like, you want to go to the top, go to the bottom, and then force them to use their Jackson.
Yeah.
Right? Then the whole stack gets shuffled, and then take a look at 6 top, 6 bottom every time. Like, I mean, you're talking about redefining an R&D lock.
Yeah. No, it's a powerful card, but it requires a fair amount of setup to be really powerful.
Too true. Surprised though that we don't see it enough.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet at all. Other than that fateful November evening.
And that's why you go to Worlds, for memories like that. The next card we have is the Wanton Destruction.
Oh, yeah.
This is a run sabotage event for 1 credit, 4 influence, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Make a run on HQ. If successful, instead of accessing cards, you may spend any number of clicks to force the corporation to trash an equal number of cards from HQ at random.
Game changer.
Right. So at random, just to clarify, so you're letting the runner or you go play this card, you run on, and then it's just like you're damaging the
Right.
corporation. That's how the random draws are done there.
Yeah, that's one way to do it, I guess. Yep.
Well, how are you doing it?
Well, that's how I'll do it, but I'm sure you could roll dice or whatever.
This is a very powerful card in faction.
Yeah, it's a monster.
To be able to break up a lot of known combos. I mean, you're gonna have to time it right, but if you've seen what's coming from R&D looks, or you've ran HQ enough times, or just can read board state,
Celebrity gift.
a timed wanton destruction is just going to be game changing for what you can pull off this. You seeing a lot of people burn their whole turns on it?
Always.
3 so run first click and then burn for 3.
Oh, yeah.
I would think that that's the most optimal. I don't think there's another, obviously, unless they have less cards in hand, like
Or they're playing Stim Shop,
Yeah.
Stim Dealer.
You you don't need to you don't need to worry about this, man. Or you don't need to save your clicks for this. You want to play it turn one, you want to run, maximize the rest of it, and you know, connect the dots back to amped up a couple
Right.
cards ago, right?
Yep.
Give yourself 3 more clicks and use them all for this.
You can wipe out their entire hand with that card, with the amped up Wanton. That's 5 cards.
You,
Boom.
you seen that yet happen?
I haven't seen it happen, no.
No, neither.
But I've seen plenty of Wanton destruction.
Yeah, so have I. I don't think there's really anything else to say about how good this card is. Um, Never seen it out of faction yet.
No, it's
It's
gonna
too.
be tough. I mean, sure you can play it and it'd be a great card, but at a big cost.
Hmm. I don't want to say that you never will though, because I mean, as these factions get more and more pieces that they can sustain themselves, um, like everybody said that Anarch needs draw. If you use I've had worse as your draw, you're already set right there. You're not
And
splashing
inject.
it. You're not splashing and burning influence anymore. So, there's less stuff like that Anarch now needs to bring in, right?
Right.
So, and each faction is going to be able to stand on their own soon, and you're going to be able to more and more as the game progresses pull in these 4 influence, 5 influence cards. So this is a great destruction card. Plays great with the theme of Anarch. Look out for it because it sucks to get hit with it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anything else
especially
there?
when you know it's coming and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, yeah. Just keep your.
It makes me, you know what, this whole Anarch thing makes me want to start playing Project Vitruvius over ABT with all the trashing of the hand and keyhole just pull, being able to pull things.
Really
Like if
just
somebody has an over advanced ABT, like keyhole now becomes a liability because you can just pull it. Oh, thanks for finding my agenda. I'm ready to score it now. You
You
know
know
what I
what it
mean?
makes me want to play? All these NR cards. Sentinel Defense Program.
Really?
Yeah, I just think it's be funny if because it stops
Oh,
them
because
from.
they hurt themselves too
Yeah.
when they take their brain damage. Why are you hitting yourself? Stop hitting yourself.
um, that's the destruction. Nothing much to say about that, or nothing else. Diving into day job. Um, this is an event. Costs you 2. This is 1 influence. As an additional cost to play this event, spend 3 clicks, and you'll gain 10 credits. So basically, this is on your average turn. This is your whole turn. So you play it, spend your clicks, get $10.
It's a great card, man. I mean, it's not unreasonable for a deck. You never want to do it, but sometimes you see click, 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 4 credits, and man, this is what doubles that efficiency. So you add in like my Quetzal deck's playing prepaid voice pad, gives you a little more value there too. Combos with amped up, play one of these, make a run. So it's strong, man. It gives you econ, which is really it gives you a boost of sustainable econ. Like they had Stim Hack, which is great for runs, but this gives you um, that big surge, and then you're ready to play. And knowing the timing of this card is important when to play it. You don't always want to play this card, obviously, if you need to put some pressure on the corp. But if you there's enough times in the game where there's a lull and you can happily take 8 credits.
Yeah, I agree, man. The only thing you're gonna have to watch out for is the timing. But I mean, like you said, how many times does someone click 4 times for 4 credits, right? it happens. This one here is just going to double that. Exactly like you said. You spend 2, gain 10, so basically you're getting your 8 credits back for it. 1 influence, I think it's great. I think you could, play with this out of faction if you really wanted to, as a great boost. I don't think it's going to be as likely to be seen out of faction, but it's still there.
Spags was playing it, and Aaron was playing it in their prepaid Kate decks.
Really?
Yeah.
Would they? Are they dropping Lucky Finds?
I think they also had Lucky Finds. I can't remember exactly, but I do know they were playing this card.
I think it's great, man.
Yeah, it's a good splash.
Yeah.
Great with prepaid voice pad.
Mm-hmm. The next couple cards we can, as we talk about them, I'm just going to cycle through, but we're now into the cutleries for the people on the videos here. So we got Forked at a cost of 2. This is a run sabotage. 3 influence. Fork, the first time you break all subroutines on a sentry during this turn, trash that sentry. Knifed is 1 cost, so it's a little different there. It will kill the barrier. That's 3 influence, and then you have Spooned is 2 on a code gate. So these are officially been dubbed the Cutlery Suite, and this is your ice destruction. Some of the best forms of killing ice in the game right now.
Yeah, it's really strong stuff. The biggest challenge of playing them, I think, is deck space. Because, I mean, I want to play 3 of each, but it's just really not practical to do that because you have to have the breakers and all the other stuff, obviously, to make it fire. But these are really strong. I mean, these are game changers for sure. We've said that about a lot of cards so far, and we'll say it about a few more.
Yeah, well, definitely the best. This is the best box that from top to bottom that they've put out so far.
Yeah, I think this is the best Netrunner you can buy other than the core set. This box right here.
Yeah.
Specifically for the Anarch cards, quite honestly.
It really brings in the destruction of Anarch. We can see that. Out of faction, what are your thoughts? There was a lot of hyped up about Kit Spoon. I don't know if there's a deck name for it. Spooned Kit, Spoony, Magoony.
That's it, Spoony Magoony.
But you think how many spoons would you need? 3? That's 9. Kit gets 10.
Yeah, brutal.
You think that's doable?
It's hard to find them, man. I mean, I was playing am playing a planned assault in my Quetzal deck, so playing planned assault and same old thing. So, you can get what you need, and there's a lot of events in there. But I think that's the only challenge of these things is you want to play them all because they work and they do exactly what they say they're going to do, and they do them awesome. But it's limited sometimes because sometimes you need the fork, but you have the knife, and sometimes it sound like Alanis Morissette over here, but
Canadian
I'll tell you
reference.
One card that works super well with these, and I can see why it's 4 influence now, is Tinkering.
Yeah.
I've been playing Tinkering in my Quetzal deck. I play a 1 of, and then that way I can just, whatever cutlery I have in my hand, okay, great. Ideally, I have a knife in hand, and I do play 2 knives, because then it's a barrier, and then I just Quetzal E3 my way through it and destroy it. So you can create some really cool combos with it. I think it's really strong. I have a lot of work I think I can do yet on my Quetzal deck, because when it fires, it's really good, but it's still lacking a few things. So, but a color is a huge part of its success.
Oh, dude, there's nothing worse than you finally being able to res some of your big fat ice that you've been waiting for, and then someone just kill like
Chews right through it,
yeah,
especially with a David, right?
yeah.
Um, uh, um, yeah, it's good, man. It's really strong. I like that they gave Anarchs these tools, and I like that they're hard to fit in a deck.
They're well balanced, and you can even see like we said, like knife uh, has the lower cost there of the set, and I think that I think that makes sense.
Well, yeah, Anarchs are the barrier faction, right?
Yeah,
But
right. So that takes us to Eater, the
oh, this card.
3 influence, 4 credits, 1 memory program AI breaker. A credit to break a subroutine. You cannot access more than 0 for the remainder of this run, and a credit to pump strength starting at 2.
Can
What do you got from me?
I just say, I'm gonna say, all right, I'm gonna declare right now, this is the most important card ever released for Anarch. Period. It makes their whole game function now. Where's this card been? Seriously. I guess I'm not complaining, but this changes everything. Everything. Keyhole's Keyhole is good, but now Keyhole's amazing. You know, Wanton Destruction's good, but now Wanton, I mean, not that we ever had any reference outside of this set, but it makes cards like Wanton Destruction work so well. It makes cards like Singularity worth playing. I used to you think about Singularity without Eater, you're like, why am I making this run if I have to pay all the money to get through there? And now what am I going to do? Just blow it up? Why wouldn't I just access it if I took all the time to make a successful run? Well, now Singularity kind of makes sense because you can just run right through that server, pay nothing with Eater because it's so darn efficient, blow up their agenda and their ash or whatever they're doing, and go steal it in archives. Brilliant.
Yeah, man. It it does what it says it does. It eats your ice.
Oh, it's a monster.
Right now. So how are you playing it? Are you me personally? I'm trying to not let it influence my building style too much, but I have fattened up my ice in decks, so it's just trying to make them pay a little more with this card.
I, I think the cards that really affect Eater that give you an edge on it are Chrysium Grid because they can't do anything with Eater if you have a Chrysium Grid out.
Which we have seen an increase in decks.
Oh yeah, I'm splashing it now for sure. Probably in almost every deck I build. Um, but yeah, so Chrysium Grid shuts it down. Caprice Nisei shuts it down because Caprice stops you before the run is successful. So you don't actually get to Keyhole. You don't actually get to Wanton. Whatever you're doing.
And then
So
Swordsman.
yeah, and then Swordsman, which is definitely. I mean, if you're playing in a meta that's all Anarch, you better be playing Swordsman.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's good about it. At least there's answers. Not the greatest. I mean,
Wraparound's a good answer.
mhm.
Forces them to find a corroder or something.
Yeah, but I mean, you shouldn't be playing this as your only, right? You're just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, you can play around it. If Eater's your only breaker, you're going to lose.
Um, but yeah, you're just gonna have to fatten your ice up, make them pay a little more because for a fact they can get in. But like you said, it complements all those dangerous cards that before needed a lot more setup, right? Like how awesome was Keyhole, but you needed ways to get through everything, right? And the other AIs that we've seen before just didn't do it as efficient as this.
Yeah, not even close.
So great card. Anything else?
No, it's game changer.
Yeah, one memory too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
geez,
Four
just
installs, like,
just cherry on the top.
four installs not cheap, but it's reasonable for what it does.
I think it's balanced well there. I think if that was any cheaper of an install, or
Oh, it'd be
it
brutal.
would be ridiculous. And I think,
Four is like,
yeah.
okay, I'll accept four, but five would be more comfortable, I think.
A card that really, I think needed to be played to see how cool it was Gravedigger, our next card here. This is a virus. Um, 2 credits to install, 1 MU, 2 influence. Whenever an installed corp card is trashed, place 1 virus counter on Gravedigger. Click plus the hosted virus counter. The corp trashes the top card of R&D. I really like this card. I really like it.
What do you really like about it?
I like the fact that it's milling and I'm not doing anything. I like this whole Anarch style of, you know what? Let's just move everything to the trash.
Yeah.
The corp trashes cards, I think, more than you think they do. Now, when this card is on the table, they might be hesitant to do that, which is also good. Like, think about how many times people have, when an ice isn't valuable anymore, right? Remove the ice, or, install over things, trash to use abilities and things like that. This combos with a lot of cards out there. It's 1 MU, which means that you're going to have room on the board for it, which is, I think, hard now because of choices that are out there. But I think it's really cool. I think it's one of those unsung cards that I kind of, it's like my love with Woman in a Red Dress. Woman in a Red Dress is not an auto include in any deck, and it's not even talked about anymore. But man, do I still love that card, right? Like, I put Gravedigger in this category that, you probably could play 50 or 60 games of Netrunner and not come across somebody running this card. But I think it's just a really cool concept.
I'll tell you the best way I saw it run, in my opinion, it was really simple. They had Cyber Feeders, Aesops, and a Grimoire installed. And all they would do is play the Gravedigger, pull off the virus counter, mill me twice, Aesops it next turn. So they were just getting 2 mill value out of it and then killing it for 3. So they're playing it for free, milling, second mill click, do something else, pop it for 3.
And you know what? And that's, it's so cool to do things like that because it's a virus, right?
Yeah.
With Grimoire, I mean, you could surge it if you wanted to, and then just,
go to town.
Yeah. I mean,
but it does cost a click at least, so that's good. At least there's like a limit on
no,
how
it's
effective
balanced.
It can be. Yeah,
there's no doubt about that. It's balanced. But there are cool ways to put virus counters on this now. I like this better than what was the one from HQ? That was Hemorrhage, right?
Yeah.
I think you get more value out of Gravedigger than you will out of Hemorrhage.
Probably.
I like doing it from R&D better than I like randomly trashing.
Well, especially since you said you can get it passively triggered on the corpse turn too.
Yeah,
that's really strong.
Just keep collecting those counters. Yeah, so hit me up with comments. This is the one that I'd like to see if you guys have any ideas for. Gravedigger stands out as a cool card for me. I'm not going to say, like I said, it's not the world's strongest Anarch card, but it's a very cool concept. Hive Mind. Hive Mind is a virus that's 2 memory slots, 3 credits to install. This is the whopping 5 influence. Place 1 virus counter on Hive Mind when it's installed. Virus counters on Hive Mind are considered to be hosted on all other virus programs for the purpose of card effects and can be spent as if on them.
So this is probably the most powerful runner card printed.
This is really, really crazy.
The only, yeah, I mean, in my opinion, for what this card does, it's insane. It's insane, insane how strong this card is. Because you get, say, somehow, which I'm sure we'll talk about shortly, 5, 6 counters on this bad boy. Let's say you have 5 counters on this and 2 clone chips in play. You make a run or run somewhere. You have the option now with those clone chips, assuming you have a parasite in the trash, you can just melt through an entire server because that parasite is going to, when it comes into play, have 6 counters on it. What the heck? Or 5 counters, whatever you have on Hive Mind. So if you have a medium in play, and then you run this with, say, showing off. I mean, 2 mediums. God forbid somebody plays this with 2 mediums in play. So the power of this card is just insane.
Yeah.
The problem with it is the amount of setup it requires is also insane.
Too true, man. Too true. Because as you can see, there's no way to put cards on it, or there's no way to put viruses on this card by itself. Other than when it's installed, right? So when it's installed, 1 virus counter on Hive Mind. Now, you're going to need to combo something to just feed this Hive Mind. Grimoire, Surge It, some other cards that are in this set that, we'll come across. All that being said, it's still worth an include if you're going the virus route.
Depends. I think depends how you're trying to do it, but if you're going for, I don't know. The decks I've seen try to make this work had like one huge turn where if they don't win, it's game over.
Yeah, there's we just got hit up with a comment here in our chat. The big dig with multiple medium strategy revolves around the Hive Mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it is such a ridiculous card. Not really many strange plays out of faction with it.
Nah.
At 5 influence,
you're never going to see it anywhere else. Ever.
So the only other place that I think you could do it is in Shaper, just because if you could run 1 of and then be able to find that program.
Sure, like a Chicana or something.
Yeah, right. And then you can you'd be able to use it for the viruses that are in Shaper, or if you've splashed in other viruses. But
that's going out of your way.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could just run it so that's 5 influence. You would only need 1 because Shaper can find it quicker, right? Like, I don't think you can put this in Criminal because a Criminal doesn't have a way to find programs as easy as Shaper does.
Yeah.
But
that being said, wipe, though.
Yeah, that being said, I don't think it's an out of faction play anyway.
Yeah, probably not.
Really good card for Anarch that plays with the virus abilities there. Moving on, we have a Daemon. You want to break this one down?
Sure. Let me find it here. I'm going off the prog. That's why you want me to do this one.
See why I threw this to you?
I see what you did there. Uh, I'm still Progenitor, Progenitor,
Progenitor.
Progenitor, something like that.
Yeah.
You may host a single virus program on Progenitor. Specifically, maybe Hive mind.
Oh.
That's a thought. Continuing on the card, the memory cost of the hosted program does not count against your memory limit. Whenever virus counters are purged, remove all but one virus counter from the hosted card.
Yep. 2 influence. This is 0 memory, 0 to play. Why not?
Why not? Deck space is the only reason why not. But if you're going with the whole hive mind, crazy build up monster virus run thing, then this is the card for you for sure.
Right, because as we stated, there's no self-generating way to put virus counters on HiveMind, so it protects that one virus that you get from the install.
Yeah. My biggest problem with a card like this is, at least when I'm building noise decks, it's like I look at this card and I say, I'd just rather it be a virus. And if I need to trash a card to play another virus, who cares?
Mm.
It's like I don't feel like I need to fit in another deck slot so that I can host a virus.
Yeah. You know what I worry about with this card is the install cost. I worry about it because it's a 0, because you're hosting cards on
Power
it.
shutdown.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so it's not as common as it was when it came out, but it's still out there.
Oh, it's definitely out there.
Right? And with Wayland getting a boost, I worry about hosting cards on top of cards that are cheap, because once that bottom card goes, everything that's hosted on that card goes with it.
Yeah.
That's my only concern.
Valid.
No, I don't know, no real reason to run it out of faction right now.
No, unless you're going to do your crazy hive mind idea.
Yeah.
Then you probably want to splash one of these too.
Put it in criminal, throw your pheromones on it or something.
There you go.
Pheromones.
Love it.
Our next card is the hardware from Anarch. This is Archive's interface. 2 credits to install.
3.
2 influence. Whenever you access cards in Archives, you may remove 1 card in Archives from the game instead of accessing it.
So it's 3 to play, just to be clear. You said 2.
Why is that?
Archives interface?
Yeah.
Are we looking at different cards here?
Let me see. Oh, you know what? Correction, man. It is 3 to play. I just pulled the images off Card Game DB. As you can see, it's got the card that I'm reading on the screen has the Fantasy Flight spoiler. So maybe this was this shouldn't be released.
Yeah, it's at 3.
Yeah,
It's
I just
3.
I confirmed it from my the real deal right here.
The IRL.
Yeah. So guys, like right now, if you could open up your bottles of white out and change that 2 to a 3 on your screen there, just for the sake of this slide, that'd be perfect. We'll have to get someone at Card Game DB to fix that. So it looks like this card was originally a 2. Should we touch on the mistake?
It's probably better at 3.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
a little bit more awkward to play at 3.
it's still not in line with the other interfaces.
No, but it's not as strong as the other interfaces.
Not as strong, huh? You are
Nah.
removing a card from the game.
Yeah. the other ones, you're accessing cards. You win by accessing cards.
Right.
So this is cute, and I got really excited. I got really excited about this card, but I even splashed it in my Andy deck for a while and just was messing around with it. I could never get it to fire. I had it in my noise deck, which I think is actually really not that good in noise because people are generally protecting their archives. So what I found that's tricky about this card is that, especially in an Anarch deck where you're a little bit limited on how many runs you can make a lot of times, like you don't, and also in an Anarch deck, you're finding the Corp is going to be protecting archives a lot for a lot of different reasons, regardless of what identity you're playing. So the idea that like the fantasy I had was that I was just gonna go in there and chew up their power cards. Well, A, they need power cards in there. B, you need to be able to get access to them. C, you need to be able to have other things that aren't more important to do than running their archives and destroy these cards. And that's not common. Even if you have the ability to go trash these, like a Scorched Earth in their archives, like is that really your best play when it's going to cost you all this time and money to get in there? Probably not.
See, that's along the same lines as the comments that I was going to make. In the current game state right now, I don't like this card. I can't include this in my card because putting a value on a click does not, I'm not using that click to run archives just to hopefully get rid of a card that's in there. I would rather run for an access on R&D, rather run for an access on HQ to potentially win the game.
Right, exactly.
Or to advance me towards winning. Removing a card from the game is like you say, it's interesting, but I think you're wasting your click because.
And the other thing too,
I don't know what else to say right now, but it's not, the game state doesn't need this card right now.
No, and the other thing too is like we're talking about this assuming that we've already paid the click and $3 to put it in. Like it's a pain in the butt to install this thing too. Like so on top of making the run and breaking all the ice to get there, you also have to pay the $3 and the click to put this stupid thing in. So
because you sure as shit ain't splashing the supplier, right?
Well, don't count that out. But I don't know. It's cool and it has a place, I guess. But there's a time, like it's a niche card where at certain points in the game, yeah, it's going to be awesome. But like if you can go kill 2 Jacksons, hell yeah. But how often can you really do that? And again, is that even if you can do it, is it your best play? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't think things are just going to work out for this card for, like you said, so you got the deck space, then you got the turns and the money to install it. A couple times, okay, so if you were playing this card out of 100 games, what do you think? Like 20 times out of 100, you're going to be like, yeah, I hit this awesome. I just,
No, not even that often.
I just got them to discard this, I killed one of their Jacksons. I killed their Sansan or Trick of Light out of the game or their Caprice. They can't re-get it back in. But what effect does that have on the game? Maybe they don't even have a way to get cards back in anyway once they're gone.
Yeah, I think it's a 10% of the time max you're going to see this card and you're going to be like, yeah, the card I needed.
Yeah. Hitting up the live chat, we just had a comment on a fun play with this card is using it against genomics.
Yeah, sure.
Right, when they're trashing things down there. And that's hopefully someone will bring that to the table, but yeah, I don't think you can bank on that. But it is like that ID does rely on throwing things in the grave. but I don't think it really banks on bringing things back from the grave that much. Like, you're not really ditching cards that you absolutely need. So it is what it is. But right now it's left on the cutting room floor.
I'm happy I could get that out because I was so excited about that card, but I feel like I've come to a resolution. I
Yeah,
have clarity.
yeah. And so they also say here, discarding chic hues and shocks.
Right.
So
Yeah, you could kill
as
those. That's fine.
as Jinteki traps become, maybe we'll see more pop from archive traps. And then this will be a use again.
I think we'll see this card have more value down the road, but yes, it is a great card against shock, no doubt.
Hmm.
It's probably its best value. Or like it could be really good against a cerebral imaging deck that's trying to recurse like their econ and all that. And you'll probably actually have the time to do it in a deck like that. So,
Yeah.
but it's very niche.
The pace of the game is just moves too quick to be
Right.
whiffing your runs right
Yeah.
then. Let's move on to the card that pretty much wins best name award for Netrunner so far. You got the Chop Bot 3000. A really crazy card. I know, Greg, you've been playing with the Chop Bot 4000, so people will have, when the new model comes out next year, something.
Yes, I'm testing the prototype.
So the Chop Bot is unique. It's one cost to put into play. It's one influence. It's hardware. When your turn begins, you may trash another of your installed cards. If you do, draw one card or remove one tag. Yeah.
You know, so I'm going to go back to that game I was playing against that the Gravediggers deck because the dude was playing this. He was playing Chopbot and Aesops, and all of these super cheap viruses. So all his turns were installing super cheap viruses for free with Cyberfeeder, and then chop-botting and asupsing away to draw cards, to find more viruses, to get the money to... It was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. I mean, because you get a little mini engine going there. You get a card draw, you get some econ. The only thing is you have to make sure you have enough programs, but you start getting into, deja vu, and you can cram a lot of viruses into a deck. So
Right.
I think it's a really neat card. And it also, it's a really important card from the standpoint that you now don't have to splash to get rid of things like Wildside. You can play this and kill Wildside. You don't need Aesops to do it anymore.
So you're saying, would you... to me, that's hard. So you're saying that a draw is worth 3 credits?
No. Aesops is better.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, if you have enough small little piddly programs on the table and you can keep refueling them...
So you're basically only putting this card in your deck to get you 2 credits. Install it. And
Well,
then
no, if
bounce
you're
it
playing
right
a
away.
noise deck, you're milling.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You play a catch, you trash a catch to draw a lamprey, right? And then you'll be doing so it could be really good even with Wildside. I don't know. But I don't know if it's a great card, but I just think that's a really cool concept that like you can have all these little things and then you're using the chop bot to fuel more draw, and then you're using your Aesops to give you the money to fuel, and you're kind of like synergizing that way.
But you're also making the choice, right? Like, you can't... When your turn begins, do you want to use that card to sell it to Aesops, or are you going to chop bot it for the draw?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have enough things that you can do both.
Yeah. I think it fits in with the Anarch style, right? Like it's really cool. I don't know how many times you're going to be trashing cards to remove tags.
Probably not often.
So that would be crazy.
It's nice though. I think cards that have these multi-purpose things are cool. Oh, that's what I was going to say 50 hours ago when we were talking about Sigh games. That's what that Disruptor card should have been: stop any trace or win any Sigh game. Right? Make the
Yeah.
Sigh bid 0.
Hey, anything that's anti-Psy game, I'm just going to agree with you right away.
They need a card like that. They should have been Disruptor. Then it has multiple purpose. Anyway, that's off topic.
Yeah, so Chopbot, it's a cool concept.
Enough said.
Mem strips. We have 3 credits, 2 influence. This is hardware, and it's a chip. This gives you 3 memory. These MU on mem strips only for virus programs. Cool?
I'd rather play Grimoire.
Yeah, I think to feed the viruses that you're playing, you're just going to play Grimoire. But it's neat. I mean, it's cheap.
Ish.
Yeah, $1 per memory.
It's good value for what you get, but 3 credits is, again, that's a thump when you're getting set up.
Yeah.
If you already have the ASOPs and everything rolling, you're fine. But
I don't know if I'm a fan of stereotyping or categorizing my memory. The same way that Deep Red was, 3 memory only used for Kessia. This 3
And
memory
Overmind.
only used for viruses.
And Overmind.
I need my rig to be more flexible than that. But that's just me because, shaper background, right?
Well, it's interesting. I was kind of saying it jokingly, but cards like this really do make Overmind a sink.
Yeah, you can definitely still play this with Overmind.
Because you do get the counters.
Mm-hmm. It's still memory in that term, but your programs can't use that memory.
Right.
Right now, better out of faction consoles or hardware, sorry, than this. I mean, Shaper doesn't need to use this. Criminal, probably not. It depends on maybe how much viruses you're going to splash in, but at that time, you can just use a different form of MU in faction.
Honestly, I think you might. You're probably not going to see this in a lot of out of faction virus decks, but you might see it in a Overmind deck because you'll see people splash like the Deep Red, right? Just for the MU.
What's the stats on Deep Red? You got that handy?
It's 1 influence, 2 cost.
Yeah, because it's
cheaper.
cheaper.
It is. No, you're right. But the thing that it's not, or the thing that it is a console, where this is a piece of hardware. So you could theoretically, like I'm thinking in a Chaos Theory deck, you play like, or maybe even a kit deck or something. You play Dinosaurs Yogg, and then Mem Strips Overmind. And that's how you get around. And then you'd have like an E3 feedback filter and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably not a great deck, but I think you could do something like that. You could use that, fuel that MU, get that extra 3 MU for counters, but then you still have a power console to use for something else, like a Yogg, Dino Yogg or something.
I think it's situational. It's cool. You
Yeah,
probably
super
won't see it out of
situational.
faction.
Probably not.
Boom. This one here is our Anarch console for the box. Vigil. I'll just say it's my Canadian accent that gets in the way again. 2 credits to install. Standard console rules. It's unique. 2 influence gives you 1 memory When your turn begins, draw one card if the corp has cards in HQ equal to their maximum hand size. I don't think that when it comes to console choices, this is what Anarchs are leaning towards.
No, no, not at all. I mean, this is obviously this has some synergy with the whole like bad publicity, itinerant protester thing, and sure, like you get all that to fire. Wow, congratulations! I'm proud of you. But at the end of the day, you're getting a card. Like,
Clap it
you
up.
know, yeah, nicely done. What did you get out of it? A card. Good job. You know, it's like, okay, awesome. Cards are great, and like they definitely need help with draw. But if I see this on the table, I'm just gonna have four cards in my hand. It's not a big deal. And maybe there's a turn or two where I have five cards and they get a few draws. Like, sure, it's never good to give up free draws, but I just don't see this card affecting the game a lot. Bottom line.
I don't
It's cheap. That's nice.
I'm not worried about this card anyway, man. In the current, it's weird that I always got to precedence this in case someone comes back and listens to it down the road. In the current game state, this is not your Anarch choice of console. There is no way around it. There are better in faction options for you available right now. Even Spinal Modems, you know.
Spinal Mob is great with Eater.
Yeah. So it's just it's a ridiculous choice to put this in right now. I didn't. Game designers present you choices, and it's up to the player if they're going to play them. This one's not going to see play.
Next.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to pass judgment on these too quickly and actually form discussion points, but
I mean, it is what it is. You're gonna occasionally be able to draw a card.
yeah, but even for one, you know, like one MU, like why you? I don't think you're gonna like. Occasionally, you're gonna draw a card, and you're gonna get a small boost of memory. It's not even the memory part is worth playing for it.
The best, like I said, the best thing this card has going for it is that it's a 2-credit console.
All right, human
about
first. We're into the resources of the pack now. 2 influence, 1 credit, connection. Whenever an agenda is scored or stolen, gain credits equal to the agenda points on that agenda. I think this is great.
I haven't seen it. Like, I like the card kind of when I saw it, and then like the more I read it, the less I like it. But I've never seen it in action, so
I haven't seen it
I'm
played.
gonna stay neutral on this card.
Yeah,
I don't know where to go with it.
I haven't seen it played. I haven't built a deck with it, but I like it. I mean, I can say, you know, I think the cost is great. It's a connection, so it's searchable in the, in the right situation with the, what's his name card, the hostage. So,
I mean, you just gotta think, what are you gonna really get out of this card, right? Maximum, you can get 13 credits on it. If you're like in a barn burner game.
Right, but I mean, you don't think that boost economy is going to be good?
No, I'm not like judging it. I'm just trying to think like rationally, like what is this card really worth? So you pay a credit, and the best case scenario, other than government takeover, they score like a priority rec, okay? Or you steal a priority rec, so you get a 3 credit boost. I mean, NAPD costs 2 now, I guess. I used to have to pay the 4 and then you'd get the 2 back, but I don't know. It just seems like there's better ways to make money.
Two nice comments from the live chat. I feel Human First would splash well in an Ian Sterling deck, and Micah just says, "You just chop bot this thing."
Love it. Oh, that's great. Yeah, put it on the supplier and then chop it. Score something and then chop it. I don't know. I just don't think you're going to make a lot of money from
Yeah,
this card.
and he is right too. Then he follows up with that, saying that maybe if it was one influence, it could see a lot more play, but sitting at 2 for what the return is.
Yeah, I just doesn't make sense to me that
I like it in the fact that it's another interesting way to make econ. I like econ options in the
sure.
game.
It's a passive way to make money where you don't really have to do anything other than pay a buck and put this down. So for that, it's good. But then you're talking about what else could it be?
Yeah.
You know? So I
Cool.
don't know. I guess it's worth testing.
Yeah, well, definitely, but we'll but maybe the 2 influence is going to stretch it out too much here for out of faction. But in faction, it's an interesting way for Anarchs to make some cash, and
It's
they've
cute.
they've always had issues with that. Investigative journalism. This is another resource. It's 1 influence, 0 to play. It's just a resource, so no sub action on it. Install only if the corp has at least 1 bad publicity. Then you spend your 4 clicks and you trash it to give the corp another bad pub. I've seen this played heavily in Valencia decks, nowhere else yet.
Yeah. Same.
So it's crazy, I think. I think it's a great way to dish out bad pub. Probably the best way we've seen so far. I mean, it's not like activist support where you're damaging yourself, or frame job where you're sacrificing your well earned points. You just got to burn your turn in the card.
Yeah.
And that's self-explanatory.
There's one word in this whole card that makes it so the
Resource.
if
Oh yeah. Yeah, you got to land the first one first, and that's why I think I've only seen it played in Valencia. It's just because, like you said, that bad publicity suite. Where they're using this one and all that other bad pub, crap in this game, right? So you're going to use this. You got your blackmail. Man, what was that other bad pub card?
itinerant protesters.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. The current. You're going to lower your hand size there, and just keep feeding it on with this card. And Anarch has the abilities to pull this back, right? The recursion.
Yeah, and giving up 1 bad pub, like, that's a lot of money throughout the course of a game. So if you can get one of these landed early and you can get 2 bad pub for a game, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this is
You're setting yourself up.
definitely the best way to give it.
Yeah, but it's the whole Anarch style, which is again the if word. Like,
Yeah.
it's a high risk, high reward.
Yeah. And that sums Anarch up perfectly. High risk, high reward. The next resource is Sacrificial Clone. It costs 3 credits to put it in play. It's 4 influence. Trash, prevent all damage. Trash all your installed hardware, all installed non-virtual resources, and all cards in your grip. Lose all credits in your credit pool. Remove all tags. Basically, reset your game.
Basically,
Thoughts on this?
carapace. I don't know. It seems like sure. I love that it's a different way to prevent damage again. It gives us a different perspective on how to do that. But I look at all that crap and I'm just like, why would I put myself through that when I could just play Carapace
So yeah,
or Utopia Shard?
my thoughts on this card is I would like to see somebody write an article, or I would like to get somebody on this show to talk about how hard is it to rebuild your game state from, jack squat after you've used this card.
Yeah.
What is the optimal time? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the time to use this? So what? You know, you and me are playing a game. You're just about to kill me, and I get rid of everything. How many more turns do I have after that?
Well, one question might be how many turns does the Corp have after that? Because if they're doing one of these combo wombo decks, that might be all they're doing. So this could save you there. But no, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, the fact that it's all non-virtual resources is kind of interesting. So like one of the neutral cards we'll talk about later, data folding, that would still allow you to make some money if you had one or two of those or three of those out on the table. So you wouldn't lose those per se. But yeah, in general, it's going to be pretty hard to recover if you lose all install. Oh, let's see. Well, I guess you keep your programs. So yeah, you lose your resources, cards in your hand, credits.
Hardware.
It's better than being dead.
Yeah, yeah, and you clear your tags.
And you do clear your tags, so you're safe for the next turn. Theoretically,
Yeah,
but
but like where, like I don't know, man. Like, you're legitimately probably playing this as like one last possible. Like the game is tied. You have, you know, or not. Maybe not tied. Maybe you're playing a Scorch deck, and you have, your 6 points. You know for a fact that they're gonna try and Scorch you, but you just need to get in. I don't know.
I mean, you don't want the corp to like fail on their scorch from killing you and then say, "Oh, that wasn't too bad." I guess that still worked out for me. They're
But
alive, but wow, look
I
at their
mean,
board state.
yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot to. I don't know. I don't know if you can recover from that.
I mean, you have to build your deck so that you're not either A, you're playing virtual resources, or you're not playing any other
Yeah, but you're
resources.
building your deck for a situation, and you can't predict the state of the corporation's board to be able
Yeah,
to use this.
it's tricky. I don't know. It seems like a card that I'm not going to play, but maybe there's
Maybe someone else
maybe I'm
will.
missing something,
No.
or maybe there's ways you can make it work with virtual resources, etc. But for me, if I'm going to pay $3 to install something to prevent myself from damage, I'll just make it a carapace.
And maybe there'll be enough virtual resources that are coming that will
Yeah,
um,
maybe exactly. Like who knows?
futuristic. Resource connection is up next. This is Stim Dealer. This costs 4 credits to put into play, and it's 3 influence. When your turn begins, if there are 2 or more power counters on Stim Dealer, remove all power counters from it. Suffer 1 brain damage. Cannot be prevented. Otherwise, place 1 power counter on Stim Dealer and gain a click.
Rinse and repeat.
Hmm. It is it's it's interesting.
I like it. But I just feel like this with a lot of the whole Anarch set. Like there's a lot of it's like you've done jigsaw puzzles. The first thing you do is you look for the edges. Like I feel like they gave us a jigsaw puzzle, but we don't know where the edges are. Like a card like this, I'm like, man, this has got to fit in the puzzle, but like I can't find the reference point to like, you know what I mean? I
Good
can't
call,
find the other
man. It's
cards or
all
the combo or
yeah.
the mindset to fit. But I do think like
It's
cards
all
like this
sky,
and
right? Like it's all blue.
yeah, exactly. It's like a round, like no edge. But so I think it's there. Same with the amped up. Like someone's gonna build a deck with Stem Dealer in it. It's gonna be like, oh, that was brilliant. I have not done that. I
No.
hope I do, but I think it's a cool card, and I think it actually could be a card worth splashing. Like it's really interesting, say on the supplier, because you could keep it on the supplier all game, and then when you know it's time to win the game, you pop this thing off. You
Mm.
start taking brain damage every second, third turn, whatever it is, and you have a card like Logos or Boxy. You can sustain the brain damage, but you know what I mean? Like you're building even more inevitability to win towards the end. So it's cute. It's a cool card. Maybe it's too gambly. Maybe it's too risky to play, but I think there's
You
room
build
for
the stim dealer deck, and I'll be there to play my Sentinel defense against it.
it. Deal.
Um, I agree with everything you said, man. This is a really really interesting card, and it makes you wonder what cards could be coming to complement this, because this you are gonna either have to offset that brain damage somehow with hand size, your hand limit, or you're gonna have to win incredibly quick.
Or just trash it with the trash bot or Aesop's.
Chop bot it.
Chop bot it. Chop bot it.
Um, but like, I don't know. Do you at that time like have you gotten the use out of it
2 clicks.
for 4 credits?
Maybe 2 from a supplier.
Uh,
Yeah, see where I'm going there. I don't know. I don't know. I like this card though.
I,
I think this is a card that can be splashed. I think you have to build a deck for it, but I don't know. I don't know. This card just intrigues me.
because I don't know. I don't think I don't think there's going to be a way to ever patch brain damage.
Oh, I doubt it. You got the best you can do is public sympathy
Yeah,
at this time.
at this time. And I mean, I hope they don't. I hope brain damage is a permanent thing.
Should be.
Um, so who knows? And like you say, um, it's gonna take some serious camping on a card like this to for someone to spark an idea. I hope
It's there though. I mean,
I hope it is, because it's a very cool concept card.
the only fear I have is that it's a little bit too high variance to play it, where it's not going to be good all the time, and so it might not be worth playing in a highly competitive deck because of that.
Just to gain the extra.
Yeah, it might not always be worth it, especially if you're going to splash it.
Yeah. Cool. Ready?
Yep. We're almost done, aren't we?
Resource Virtual.
Oh, yeah.
Virus Breeding Ground. This costs 2 credits to put into play. It's 2 influence. When your turn begins, place 1 virus counter on Virus Breeding Ground. Now you're going to spend a click, move 1 virus counter on Virus Breeding Ground to another card with at least 1 virus counter on it. So, right away, this is a way to boost your hive mind.
Yep.
Amongst other cards, but this is an incredible card. When your turn begins, you're just putting virus counters on it. I mean, if you're playing a lot of viruses and heavy viruses like Imp, how many times are they going to purge? I mean, they won't be able to now.
Well, but it has to have at least one virus counter on it, right? So if they purge, then you can't put it on the imp unless they have it on the.
No, no, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, so that should have been like a period at the end of that sentence, like
Oh,
you know, keeping your imp alive there and stuff like that. Um, but also,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
there's just so many viruses that you'll be able to just put into play, move viruses around. You know, like I'm just saying in general, like how many times are they going to waste turns purging when you have some kind of system
Yeah, definitely.
that's heavily rotating around on viruses?
For sure. Or if you have progenitors out,
Yeah.
whatever they're called, progenitor.
Really, really cool concept card, and it definitely you know, it's definitely a card that I've already seen being used. So it's not uncommon. Any other thoughts? I think it's just very straightforward that if you're playing viruses, virus breeding ground makes sense.
Maybe. But again, it's like I look at this card again and I'm like, do I want to feed viruses or do I just want to play a virus?
Well,
So,
it doesn't make sense in the noise mill style, and
right.
I mean,
Exactly. Like if you're playing one of those, like a power deck, you want to fuel a big medium run or something, great card for that. Or if you want to keep your hive mind alive or incubator, whatever. Goes really well with incubator because then you know incubator is getting a virus every turn no matter what.
yeah, that's true, man. You'll be able to just move it over there. Um, that does run all the Anarch cards down. Like I know we are moving the neutrals to their own little show. We'll talk about more those later on. Any other closing thoughts in this box, like for that suite of cards we just hit?
I think we already said it, but it's worth saying again. This is a what we just talked about. The Anarch cards, I believe, from this set, far and away the best cards we've seen in the game since core set.
Yeah,
As
nothing changes the game style more than this, than what's
right, I
included
mean,
in this box.
how many cards did we say? Oh, it's a game changer. Oh, it's a game changer. Oh, it's a game. And I don't say that lightly. Like that's really a game changer. Cards like Eater really changed the game a lot.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
for that,
and
it's
just
great.
and it's not from playing with them; it's for the potential to come
Yeah,
across it.
for what exactly not just for what like this does for what's already been established in the game, but this creates a whole nother framework to take the game even further, I think.
Mm.
And so I'm extremely happy with these cards. I'm extremely happy with Anarch in general. I've been playing a lot of Andy. I do have that Quetzal deck I'm working on, and I really, really think Anarch is. I mean, if it can't be good now, when can it be?
Yeah, no more people playing the well. I'm playing Anarch.
Yeah,
You know,
it's not as hipster to play Anarch
yeah,
anymore.
it's no handicap. Um, yeah, I agree. I think everything they needed is in this set of cards with the Anarch style presented very, very well. Some very interesting cards from, you know, things we will, you know, become staples in the deck. Will be, you know, there's some hidden gem combos I'm sure in there, yet to be discovered, and some good future potential play cards for all styles of Anarch. Every Anarch player can use something here. Um, I
Definitely.
I think they did an amazing job. This became probably, if you're getting into the game, you should just probably pick this up along with your core sets, um, because it's going to be that fun for a new player to play.
It's a good one to get for sure, especially if you want to be an Anarch player.
Yeah, I don't know why you would, but it's there for you. um,
Whew,
yeah.
good
So I
marathon there.
mean, you know, any other closing thoughts? I think, like you said, everything's pretty much been touched on, and we'll get into the IDs and stuff like that in another show. So, what do you got to close us out, Mr. Greg?
I don't know, man. I'm just excited about the game right now. I had a little bit of a lull after Worlds where I was trying some different things, and it's really, really hoping that this set would be what I wanted it to be, and it is. This set really is what I wanted it to be. I'm re-energized a lot about the game right now. I'm really excited to be playing it and building decks again. So that's it, man. I'm really, really pumped about the state of Netrunner right now.
Yeah, very well said. Internet, thanks for tuning in. Always appreciate everyone that just randomly jumps in our chat rooms as we sporadically do these. Maybe we'll get back to it more of a set timetable later on. We have a lot of cool things coming in the bad publicity world, so stay tuned for announcements from that stuff. Catch you guys next time when we further rip into the other side of this box. Thanks a bunch, everybody.
Over and out.